Welcome, members, to our 26th season. A season that left our big hitters and past champions struggling. The warm 80-degree weather wreaked havoc in our 23 season. When the scoring was complete by Jim and Paul here at the Weedsport Rod and Gun Club, a new champion was crowned. I'll get back to that later. On a note, longtime weighmaster John Potter has decided to retire. Thank you, John, for the many years of dedication as a weighmaster and committee member. Next year, the weigh-ins will be at my place, 2351 Emerson Road, Weedsport.
Over 25 bucks were scored at the club. Here's some of their stories.
This buck I shot in Weedsport, and I wasn't expecting to see it. I didn't really hunt there that much this year, and it was a nice surprise deer. I kind of figured that there was something there because the neighbors were hunting it pretty hard. And he was with a bigger buck than this, and I didn't see the bigger buck, but I dropped him, and he didn't go very far. Right place at the right time.
Well, I usually go to my regular tree stand quite often, and I've had this one on camera, but never seen it live. And I've seen some smaller ones, so I just watch them. And that morning going up, the does crossed the road in front of me early, so I knew that I couldn't get to my tree stand in time for them. They'll be there before I am, time I walk in. So I decided to sit in the pine tree that I had set up that I used to sit in years ago. And so I got in the pine tree, and the does walked by me. And then a little while later, they came back by me, and then all of a sudden the buck come down through, and then he made a sharp cut to the left, and he went right past me, and I said, well, that takes care of that. He didn't come close enough to shoot. So then I waited a little while. Next thing I know, he came right back down the path, but he came perfect. So I already had pulled back the hammer on the crossbow, was safe, and waited till he got right directly in front of me and touched her off and watched him go, and didn't even look like he was hurt. I thought I missed him. I said, I can't believe I missed him, that easy shot. So I waited and recocked the crossbow, and I finally got down and I looked at the bolt, and it was bent, and it had one little tiny drop of blood on it. I said, I can't believe I missed that buck. So I walked to where I thought he went after I seen him make a circle, and I got almost out to where he was, and there he was laying deader in the doornail. He had to jump back, and I couldn't see that happen, and it cut his throat. But I know there was no way I aimed at his throat, but that's what happened.
Got this one the third day of gun season, actually. I woke up a little late and started coming up the hill to my cornfield where I hunt, where I shot the other buck. And this guy was standing there scraping a tree. I couldn't really tell what it was at first. So I put my scope on it, and I was checking him out. I could tell it was a buck because he kept rubbing the tree. And all of a sudden I see him lean back and itch his back with his antlers. So I was like, I'll shoot him. He's about 80 yards.
Nice.
So I shot him. He ran about 40 yards and dropped right there.
Nice.
It was a pretty quick hunt.
Sunday night, on my way out, watching a doe and a fawn in the lower meadow. And he jumped in over a big fence, took off towards the doe and stopped and looked back. And that was the end of the deal. It's a lot of luck, right?
Yeah.
That's what I concede to. But I'd rather be lucky than good.
I was going out just about every day almost, but it was the last day that I went out. He'd come popping out, and he was out quite a few yards. I thought he was going to be bigger than it was when I shot it. When I got out there to see it, he was a little smaller than I thought. But beggars can't be choosers sometimes.
Got lucky actually. I was ready to get on my stand, and I had a doe come in behind me and bedded down from here to there. And I was supposed to be at work, and I didn't want to spook her, so I was trying to grunt at her and everything to get her out. Wouldn't leave, and I had no scent out, so I took the doe and estrus out, and she was dead downwind. Within 5 seconds, she stood up. I got spooky and went out about 20 yards out and laid down. So I started grunting at her just to get her out because I wanted to go to work. Next thing I know, this guy comes walking right over from the left and 27-yard shot.
There he was.
Just got him, hit him back in the liver. I watched him for about 2 hours out in front of me, bed down, got down. He wasn't dead yet. We jumped him and came back and found him the next morning, basically.
Yep, shot him the morning of November 6th, 7:30 in the morning. No history with him, never seen him. He just popped out of nowhere that morning. I happened to look up and he's standing right in front of me. I mean, not a great story, but it ended pretty good for me.
No, not much of a story. Came in, saw the size of the body on it, and said the heck with the rack and took him, pretty much. I hit him high, dropped him in his tracks.
Nice.
Wasn't too proud of the shot, but
Hey, it worked.
it worked. I got him, so.
This is my bull buck from this past season. It was an early season deer. It was only like the third day of season. It was hot out. It was like 80 degrees. And I got out of work early, so I decided to go sit in a tree stand. And right before dark, I heard some deer coming through the standing corn next to me. And this one and another decent buck came through, and this one gave me the best shot. I was able to take him at about 20 yards.
This is my archery entry with a crossbow. This one here, I wasn't seeing much out of my regular stand, and I know the neighbor put up a new stand. So I decided, well, I'll go sit in that one, because I know he doesn't bow hunt, he only gun hunts. So I went and sat in that, and about an hour and a half later, he come walking through, and it was kind of that tall, grassy swamp grass. And he come walking straight at me. And I had the crosshairs on him and waited for him to turn, and he made a slight turn, bingo. 3 of our youths entered a buck during the gun season. Congrats to all of them. Thank you to the parents of all of them who have put in the time and the effort to make their hunt.
So me and my dad went sit by a tree, and we start to hear a buck grunt, and it runs. We see the doe first run down the hill, and
About ran us over.
it almost ran over our feet. And then the buck comes down after it. It stands like 10 yards away. I take a shot, I miss, and I had to reload slowly because the thing was staring at me. And it runs off to like 60 yards, and it goes to walk off, and my dad goes, "Meh." I shot it right in the heart.
Oh, nice.
Great moment.
Yeah.
I get up in the tree stand, like 20 minutes, I'm like messing with my bag. I was trying to get some descent on me. And my dad texted me and said, I hear something in the swamp. And I was like, okay. I got my gun off my thing, and then I didn't hear anything or see anything, so I just put my gun back up on the thing, and then I seen him pop out like right about 20 yards away from me. And then my gun got stuck on my bow hanger, so I had to like almost rip off my gun. And then he looked at me, and I was like holding my gun like this for like 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I finally got it off, and I shot him like 20 yards away, and he ran in the woods about like 10 yards.
I was just hunting. It was getting like kind of late in the night, and I heard something behind me.
You got him at night?
No. Getting close to night. And I heard something behind me, and I saw a spike horn run out, and then he came out after, and it was only like a 30-yard shot, and I took the shot, and he only ran about 40 yards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest hitters in Mahogany Ridge this year were missing in action, like Stoneberg, Cullen, Jason Jedra, Joel Brown, and yes, even Kyle and the mighty Brad Layburn. Brad eventually got a deer and was too ashamed to bring it in.
Opening morning, Brad and I are hunting the location over in Cato, and the buck was actually headed toward Brad and didn't quite make it. It came over a berm and was on the run a little bit, downed it, and it all went downhill from there. I had to chase after it into the swamp and put a final one in him, and yeah, it was a good morning. Yep.
Your brother didn't get anything.
Yeah, he did, a matter of fact. Here, he couldn't show up today. Yeah. Brad,
You brought his?
Yeah, Brad brought his there. Hopefully it scores okay. Yep, there it is. There's Brad's buck for the year.
Nice. The battle for the Buckmaster would have a first-time name on the trophy. 2 of our new members would score big as well. Maybe ringers?
It weighed 200 pounds dressed. It wasn't my target deer this year. It was a deer that presented itself the second day of archery, and I didn't really want to cut my season short, but I had to let the arrow fly on it, and there she be. She ran about 40 yards, dropped in the high swale. It was a really heavy deer. I knew it was going to be a heavy deer. It was a deer I watched all season on camera, right through velvet, and you know, I knew this deer very well, and I knew he was going to be near my stand, and that's just pretty much how it went.
Me and Paige went hunting that night, and we got in just a little late, but we still had quite a few hours left of shooting light. So we got in, and she got in her stand above me on top of the hill, and so it was probably a good hour and a half left of shooting light, and she called me and said, "I just shot a monster." And I said, "If I get down out of my tree stand and there's no dead deer, I'm going to be a little angry." Well, she said, "I'm just kidding." And about 10 minutes later, he came by behind me, and he was right there at 10 yards, and I put her right through the boiler room, and he ran all the way down the bottom of the ravine. I didn't get him in the truck until 11 o'clock at night, and so anyway, I called her back, and I said, I just shot a good one. And she goes, "No, you didn't. I just called you like 10 minutes ago and told you that I shot one. Now you're just messing with me." And I'm like, "Nope." So she came down, and we tracked the blood and finally found him way down the bottom of the ravine.
No, this is gone. Opening day of gun season.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got it down at Genoa, down on the northwest corner of the property, right on the corner of the property line of the neighbor over there. And just early in the afternoon over there, sitting down there, and I'm looking over at the neighbor's property, and I see this deer coming up through the woods, and he went right out to the edge of the woods, started working a scrape. Well, between the two properties is this big drainage ditch up at 15, 20 feet deep, you know, and it's kind of steep. But he started walking up along the edge of it up towards Route 34 over there. So I lost sight of him, and then I looked up. He apparently crossed down to it, and he came right out in the field out there, and I seen he had pretty decent mass on him. So
Yeah, it's got a nice mass.
yeah, it's not a real wide rack, but it's got a lot of mass on it. So I shot him and took a shot at him. He come running right at me, and he was spinning around, so I took another shot at him, and he dropped right there, you know. But quite thrilled when I went over to see him over there, and he dressed out 183 pounds, so it was a decent buck, you know.
I shot a nice 12-pointer on the third day of archery season. I had pictures of this deer about 3 days a week for like 3 months. So I was kind of chomping at the bit to get there. So I hunted every day. It took 3 days to finally see him. I wound up a little late to the tree stand that day too, because I got pulled over for running a stop sign. The cop actually was really nice and let me go. He went back to his car and just jumped right back out, came back and said, "Here, get to your hunting spot. Good luck, slow down." So I got right in front of my tree stand. I had a little mock scrape. I squeezed that, went up, jumped up in my tree stand, sat down, looked up my trail, and thought I seen a deer. So I was like, man, I better get ready. Put my face mask on, threw an arrow in my bow, set my quiver down, turned around, and it was staring at me. Huge deer just looking at me about 12 yards away. I couldn't move. I thought he seen me. I was just praying he didn't run. And he took about 4 or 5 steps towards me, and he was right at my mock scrape, tearing it up. He stopped for a second, looked right up at me, and I thought he smelt me or something, but he didn't. He just licked the branch, turned around to walk away. I drew back. He stopped about 4 yards, and I hammered him.
Nice.
He ran about 100 yards to the wood line and piled up right there.
New members Tyler Weaver and Joe Pliss scored 2nd and 3rd overall in the run for the Buckmaster, but they just couldn't beat Steve Schaefer. Congratulations, Steve, on paying your dues and becoming the 2023 Buckmaster champion.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't know how they run through the woods that big, because I had a bitch of a time to drag them out of there.
All right, Steve Schaefer. I got my tree stand third week of archery season. Bleed a couple times. This guy stood up in the cattails, and I shot him about 38 yards. Thanks. It was my second bird this season. Oh yeah, real chocolate rack. First one. The first bird I shot, that one was the bigger one. It ended up being a double beard. This was October 10th. I won't forget, it's my dog's birthday. This guy came out just before nightfall. Came over a ridge. The neighbors across the street were logging, so I heard the chainsaws stop running. All of a sudden I heard stuff crashing down the hill. I thought they were just throwing logs, but this guy come running down the hill and over the knoll right to me. Got out of the truck, loaded the muzzle loader, walked maybe 50 feet from my truck across this little bridge, and this guy jumped up right in the middle of the field.
And let her rip.
Steve won in the archery division, and here's how they stacked up. Mark Coleman won the gun division. Here's the top 10.
A special shout out to Jesse Carr. Jesse turned in 2 bucks, 1 archery, 1 gun, both scoring almost identical, 289.1 and 289.7. Great job, Jess.
I got one with the gun. I did. This one was on the home farm where we do a bunch of habitat work and everything. So had taken 2 weeks off for the rut, and of course the opening Saturday of that on the 5th, he come out chasing some does right in a cut cornfield and let him have it. And I hit him a little bit back, and I'm like, oh no. He ran over to the edge of the woods, stood there for 30 seconds, and plopped right dead in the field. So pretty cool.
Guys! Hit him a little off. That's right.
Yeah. Right there. It looks like in the spine. That was Bucky's face.
That's stacked, buddy.
Oh.
What do you think?
And I had taken a buck during during bow season, so I went and set a trail camera up in another part of the woods that we hadn't really been in, and started getting pictures of this buck. So we went open in the afternoon, and he come walking through, and let him have it. It was my first buck with a rifle. So we've always been shotgunning in Onondaga County, so it was cool.
On a surprising note, Spotlight Frank Smith was back at it again.
I got this one next to the last day of gun season. This one come along late at night, just last light actually, and I finally got a shot at him. I took it. Lucky me, I had to hit him. You know, this was the best I could do. Hopefully next year, bigger. But he ate good. You know what I mean? He ate good. So.
In more awards, Steve Schaefer turned in the largest rack with a score of 163.7. And the largest doe was Jason Jedra with a weight of 162 pounds. But there were no entries in the muzzleloader division this year, and there were 9 entries in the turkey division. Third place was Brandon Sears with a score of 61.812 with a 19-pound bird. Second place, Logan Jedra, score of 67.187 with a 20-pound bird. Your winner, Alex Fletcher, with a huge score of 75.687 and a weight of 19.9 pounds. Way to go, guys.
Here we go, guys. It's time for the best video or picture to see who wins $100. First entry, Dave Jedra's Death Wish buck. Must be Dave was covered in doe piss or something. Second video is the Schaefers and their very suspicious buck. No doubt this father and son duo had a tremendous year. Proud dad smiling after Austin takes this buck. But this next picture just don't add up. Austin is sleeping and Steve is wide awake. Just saying. Third video is Jesse Carr and his recovery video. Look at this. Kids all excited as they're running to check out Dad's deer. It's a thing of beauty. Kids point out how Dad's arrow mysteriously went high and screwed up the back straps.
That's stacked, buddy. What do you think?
Entry 4. This video is from Jason and Matt Jedra and their close call. Last September, Jason and Matt went to Colorado on a free-range elk hunt with no guides. Check out this video of a spike cooling himself off. They will pass on him, hoping for a mature bull elk. After tracking a beast, they got close. Their adrenaline is high and may have got the best of Jason. And he just missed. That was a close call. All right, you Biden lovers, don't go woke on me and vote for the best video. The best applause wins. Entry 1, Death Wish buck. Entry 2, the Schaefer's very suspicious buck. Entry 3, Jesse Carr's recovery video. Entry 4, the Jedra's close call. Good stuff this year. A winner will be announced at the party.
Well, that's all for this year. Congratulations to our 2023 Buckmaster champion, Steve Schaefer, and to all those who entered the contest. See you all next year. Safe hunting.
The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a going dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see. My woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those when them old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. And we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I had a good friend in New York City. He never called me by my name, just Hillbilly. My grandpa taught me how to live off the land, and his taught him to be a businessman. He used to send me pictures of the Broadway nights, and I'd send him some homemade wine. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life. I'd love to spit some beach nut in that dude's eyes and shoot him with my old 45, 'cause a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.